Welcome to the All About TRH podcast, aka All About the Real Housewives, aka All About the Truth. In this bonus episode, we dive into the lawsuit against Bravo from current and past Real Housewives who allege sexual, mental, and health exploitation. Chantel.
Hey, Roxanne.
Happy Friday.
Yay.
This is our emergency bonus podcast episode. So we had zero intention of doing one, but we feel like this is pretty important. So we are going to talk about it. But before we do, you guys, we interviewed Siggy yesterday. And Chantel, what were your thoughts on it?
So good. It was just such an interesting dynamic because we were showing our faces for the first time. And so, like we said on our last episode, I laugh a lot, you guys. And so it was so like prevalent, you could see. And like Siggy was cracking up every time that I was laughing because she was loving it. That was giving her, that like little laugh. But yeah,
and
no,
it was like a straight face. Like I'm like, oh, that was the.
She spilled tea. Like she definitely there were overlapping things from the last episode, the last two that we did, and I think that's why we wanted to do a third. We really wanted to know more of production secrets, and she tells us things that I had no idea about, and I think we were shocked.
She was saying that she assumed other people would know, and we're like, no, we don't know this. But now that there's this lawsuit on NBC Bravo, it kind of is, what she told us, and then now this lawsuit comes out. It's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. I don't think she's behind the lawsuit at all, by the way. So, but yeah, we're going to share it on Monday. So we ask that you guys listen to it on Apple Podcasts and then also watch it on YouTube for us. And then we're interviewing Amber Marquise next week. And then we're interviewing Leanne Locken next week. I'm excited for both, but I'm actually super excited about the Leanne one. And the reason being is because I think I mentioned it on the Siggy episode where I give an example with Dallas where Leanne talks about production and then Andy gets so mad at her. But Leanne, if you guys didn't watch Dallas, she was the star of Dallas. She was the OG and she was fired. And then they did one more season. It didn't work out. And then it got completely canceled. Like they said, we're not even redoing it. It's just canceled, which is crazy because Dallas, I feel like that would be such a good Real Housewives. And I actually, Chanel, didn't we both love Dallas?
I love Dallas.
Yeah. It wasn't until later on that I didn't like it. But Leanne was kind of like they try to make her the villain at times. But and there were some things she did wrong, but I actually always like Leanne. So when, we talked about Chantel and I reaching out to past housewives to talk about their experience, I immediately thought of her because she was like the star of Dallas. So even if you guys didn't watch Dallas, you guys need to listen to this because I do feel like something, I don't know, I just feel like her firing was very off and they always made her look bad or something. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. I'm excited to do that interview. So if you guys have questions for Leanne or Amber from New Jersey, which is going to be so interesting, especially with her controversial husband, he's not going to be on, but that's what we know her of. Just DM us some questions.
Yes.
Okay, but let's go into this lawsuit. So today, TMZ posts a lawsuit that TV reality stars are declaring war on NBC Bravo, alleging sexual, mental, and health exploitation. Oh my gosh, wow, I said that wrong.
No, you said it right.
Yeah. So TMZ says some reality stars have gone scorched and earth against NBC, and it appears in particular Bravo, claiming its reality stars have been subjected to, quote, grotesque and depraved mistreatment. And then so TMZ obtained, of course, a letter sent by the attorney, which the attorneys are Brian Friedman and Mark Garajos. I don't know how to say these names, guys, but to NBC. And they're claiming current and former cast and crew members of its reality shows have been tormented. So among the allegations were deliberate attempts to manufacture mental instability by applying cast members with alcohol while depriving them of food and sleep.
Oh.
I don't know. Okay, but who am I? But
then remember that was what season is that? I think it was Roni. It was a cast trip where it was like a one person that literally said this, they had to leave. I think it was Roni, it was the original Roni, where one of the people, they left and said that this happened.
Wow. Well, go on allabouttrh.com for the full story, but also they in this letter it says denying mental health treatment to cast members displaying obvious and alarming signs of mental deterioration. And it says exploiting minors for uncompensated and sometimes long-term appearances on NBC reality TV shows. And this is big because Chantel, remember we had Laura on and we had gone to that event, and Laura said that she saw producers basically begging Gia to film and she did not want anything to do with it. And they're not even getting paid to film. And, Teresa's, all of her kids have always, filmed. And I think like if you're underage, you just don't get paid.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it says distributing and or condoning the distribution of non-consensual pornography, which what do you think that's about?
What?
I'm thinking there was like a photo shown amongst the cast and the cast was like, "Why are we putting that photo up?"
Or like talking about things that they've done that's sexual?
Yeah. I don't know why I start thinking of like Denise Richards. I
Oh.
don't know why, but I don't know. And then it says covering up acts of sexual violence and then refusing to allow cast members the freedom to leave their show even under dire circumstances. I will say Jacqueline Larita, this makes me think of Jacqueline because Jacqueline, she was, going through so much with Nicholas, and she says that she didn't go to the reunion and that Bravo, and she still had another she had signed a contract for like a 2 year, so she had to continue the show, even though I don't think she wanted to. And I do think that Jacqueline was going through something intense, especially because of what was happening with Nicholas. And maybe they didn't, not saying Jacqueline's a part of this. This is just like who I think about.
Yeah, and I think there's so many people now that you see it. There's Denise, even Brandy Glanville, like I feel like would
Yeah.
be part of this. Even Bethany. I just feel like a lot of people that are strong in their careers right now, they would go after a powerhouse like Bravo or NBC.
Right now with Brandy, that's a good one. She literally said she cannot wait for Ultimate Girls Trip to end because she did not sexually assault Caroline Manzo, even though I think Caroline is insinuating that. And she's saying, I've lost all these jobs. And it's like, okay, then put it on TV. Let us see, because I lost all these jobs. So that affects her life, her children. And then with the pornography claim, it's in a letter. The lawyers mention distribution of revenge porn, though they don't elaborate.
Wow, that's the whole pornography thing is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be about. Maybe you guys do. The letter demands that NBC retain a slew of information including non-consensual pornography in connection with cast members and alleged sexual violence perpetrated by or against cast members. The lawyers claim that NBC has threatened cast members with ruin should they decide to speak out about their mistreatment. I believe
Wow.
Yeah, I believe that so much.
I believe that too, and, like, I mean, even us just, like, doing doing these interviews with past housewives, like, this is their moment to say what they went through,
Yeah, exactly,
and
because they can't,
things need to change.
Mhm.
If this is, like, a hostile work environment like that, like, we know that there's gonna be weird situations, but if it's, like, at this point, what they're saying, that's very sad.
Yeah. And so we don't actually know who is behind the lawsuit, but typically when a lawsuit gets exposure, a lot of people will hop on, especially
Mhm.
if they are allowed to remain anonymous. So what's even crazier about this lawsuit on Bravo and NBC is that the attorney that is hired for this lawsuit that brought this out is the attorney Bethany recently hired. She had mentioned it on her live.
Wow. And Bethany is also doing something for people to get paid if they leave the show and then you guys watch it again, they should get paid for it or they all should just get paid even more than what they are getting paid. She thinks that people are getting paid inadequate, just like any other strikers in LA that's happening right now.
Yeah. And so the attorney that she hired is the attorney that put this out.
So maybe she knows certain things and she's connecting
Yeah.
people.
What I think, Chantal, is there's so much pressure of a storyline. There's so much pressure, and then there's like no guarantee to come back. And it freaks out the ladies. And then some people get blackballed and can't even come back, yet they gave everything to the show.
That's the thing. It's like shouldn't it be so that's why they really should go after people like we keep saying, maybe like what they did originally, like Richer Housewives and people that don't need the show to survive and to live and to act like crazy and
So
and feel
true.
feel like they're backed up in a corner.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know because then you have someone that is like a Bethany and she wasn't a rich housewife at the time and like she got this opportunity became like the richest, but
Yeah. I do think Bravo encourages and they want a toxic environment and they obviously profit from it. And then they're just so quick to let go of people on the show. And then the people on the show are left with nothing after all that they did, after all they put out there.
yeah. I think it's really sad, and then that's why I agree with Bethany with what she's doing. People should get paid for
Yeah,
it, even if they
absolutely.
leave the show, especially if you are someone like a Bethany, a Nene, a Teresa, if she does leave, even Kyle Richards, anybody that's been on for more than 6 seasons, you carried half your show, and
Yeah.
so you deserve to get paid.
Well, so I'm rewatching season 6 reunion with Amber Marquise because we are having her on next week. And as I'm watching it, it's the season Teresa has no more energy inside of her. She had just found out she was going to jail. It's the reunion. And she's giving Andy, you guys have to watch the reunion because she, at that reunion, just no F's given. She was giving Andy so much shade with a straight face, like with disgust. In particular, Andy asked Dina, because Dina was on that season. Andy asked Dina about how her family being on the show played a part in the fallout. And Dina's like, absolutely. And Teresa's like, oh, Andy, you're finally admitting the show will break families apart and it's not a positive experience. And Andy says, well, no one has to do the show. He says this to Teresa as she just found out, she owes all this money and is about to head to jail. And imagine being so loyal to your employer and then they bring your family to stress the hell out of your life and say you can leave if you don't like it, but you're the one in need financially of the money. You're the one who started with them. So they really can't leave. Of course you could leave if you really wanted to. So I'm not saying that, but it would be difficult when you have a family and this was your job first. And now you're bringing people to go against me and you're telling me that I should leave, but like financially, now I need this money.
It's very relatable, honestly, to a lot of people in their jobs. Like a lot of people would probably want to leave a hostile work environment and not want to be there, but they kind of have to because they need the money.
Yeah. You know what bothers me? So I don't know if it was Jennifer. She was on Teresa Giudice's podcast and she talked about the contract and how Bill Aiden wasn't going to let her sign because basically the contract that they give them, it literally says like you're selling your soul to us. No matter what, there could be things that are going to defame you. Doesn't matter. And if you are okay with that, then you sign this. So that's what they signed.
So crazy.
It is the craziest thing ever. And you know what bothers me is the fact that they do all this, they get so much from these housewives, then they control what podcasts that these housewives can talk to. And then we find out how they literally all find the Real Housewives of New Jersey cast if they spoke out. Jennifer Aiden got fined, how they control what media outlet they talk to. It's like Bravo is allowing them to talk to Page Six's podcast and only pretty much Page Six's podcast, which is, it's not for me, but it's like, why do you get to choose that? Because you have some like in and partnership and money on that. And then they'll pick certain housewives that can do interviews and then not pick others. And then when the others want to talk, Bravo doesn't allow it. There's so much control. And it's like, you don't actually own the person. Yes, they work for you, but you don't own the person.
I know. I know.
It's hard because they do sign these contracts. So it's like, you know what you're signing up for. I get that. You know what you're signing up for. So, it is
But
on
in
them.
no way, like that's if that's your life and you're doing all these things, but in no way I'm sure in the contract does it say Bravo can do this to you, Bravo can do this to you, or NBC can do
Yeah.
this, and the production company can do this. There's no way if what the claims are, there has to be somewhere where they're gonna get some sort of compensation for this.
Yeah, I think that production pressures a lot of them and then they pressure them to say or do things. And of course, you don't have to, but this is your job, so you want to appease these people, right? But then you don't even get guaranteed a next season. So then they're like, "Dude, I was taken advantage of and for what?" So that's also another messy thing about it. We were asked, we did ask you guys, and we only left it up for like 30 minutes, but we asked you guys what questions you have regarding the lawsuit because all of you guys were messaging us about it. And one of you did write, here's a thought. They've exploited Teresa like crazy ever since she's been on Real Housewives of New Jersey. And for me, I feel like they've been able to get away with that. And we all know because Teresa never watched this show, so she didn't realize how bad it was for her.
Yeah.
They asked us, who do you think brought the lawsuit? What do you think?
I think it's going to be housewives that have been on for like 3 to 4 seasons. I don't think anybody that's on the show now. I just don't. I'll be shocked if it's people that are currently on the show.
But it
But
says like current housewives on the
oh, it does.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm assuming previous coworkers or previous housewives.
Same. I feel like that's like when you can't people that are on it now might be scared, or it could be people from like the girls trip and um
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yes. Well,
I
some
can see a Denise Richards. That's a good one that you said. I could see a Brandy. I could see Bethany being a charge and part of it and even
yeah.
giving her past experience. I can see I'm just trying to think of like those people that were on for 3, 4 seasons and really got a bad light and had to leave.
Someone asked, was it Bethany? And obviously, we now know
Leanne,
Bethany.
Leanne probably would be one of those people.
We can ask her about it.
Yeah.
But someone asked, was it Bethany? And we saw Bethany obviously just came out with this and hired the same attorney. So I'm sure that opened the door to, Bethany has talked to a bunch of housewives. Here, I think you should contact this housewife because they had a terrible experience. Here's what it is. Andy probably wants to kill Bethany right now. He probably, not actually, but he probably is so frustrated with Bethany. I feel like we're never going to see Bethany on Bravo or Watch What Happens Live ever again.
I just think like to Andy though, like what do you care if the whole Universal NBC pays people more? What do you care if they are nicer to people? Like why would that bother you? I mean, they are attacking the whole franchise and like their image, but still,
Well,
you should want that for the people that made you so great.
yeah. What do you mean exactly? Like, are you talking about?
Like for him, why would he care what people are doing about NBC? They're not coming after Andy personally. They're coming after NBC. They're coming after the production. They're
Well, they're
coming
coming
after
after, and they're coming after Bravo, and he
Yeah,
is the
I know.
face of
It's
Bravo.
his image, but at the end of the day, he gets his coins. He leads. It's a job for him. He's not kind of like what in her interview with Siggy. She kind of says the same thing about Andy not really being a part of any of the torment that she went through.
But see, then me and Chantal are going to watch the reunion with Dallas with Leanne. And when Leanne says production told us not to call each other, and Andy's like, don't blame that on production. And he got so defensive about it. And that's like a whole different company. And he still got so defensive that, and this leaves a target where people, like, if you read the comments, people were saying, Andy needs to go. Andy needs to go. He's so terrible to women. He's exploited women. And now he's getting a lot of, crap on about all of this. So it just opens that door for people to criticize Andy as well. And he's like, oh my gosh. So I don't know. Someone also said,
I'm sure Andy's tired. Like, isn't he tired? Like,
he
I
looks
don't even know
tired.
I know. Maybe you should. I mean, I like Andy. I think he brings everything. He brings that image. He brings it to the show. And I mean, he's annoying at times on reunions, but who could be better on that? And knowing the girls and watching and knowing all the experience. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's great. I just think he like is snarky, has favoritism, and it's annoying. But I guess like at the end of the day, anyone who's worked has had that, right? We've all had that.
Yeah.
So it's like, ugh, whatever. So people were like, what does this mean for the future of housewives? And I mean, housewives have changed so much, and I feel like it has gotten toxic. I think that housewives, if they put their all to it, and if they want to come back the next season, especially if they've been on the show for a long time, I don't think Bravo should be able to control that. What do you think about that?
No, they should, because what if there's nothing left for them anymore, and like it doesn't go with the vibe that they want it to go, and sometimes you need to let people go and things like that. But I think before, do they not do any, like you said, Jacqueline had a 2-year contract. Do they
That
not
was
do that anymore?
no, they don't. And
They do year to year. Like, I think that's
yeah,
something, like, I think people who have been on the show for a long time, if they are signing, the next one, just like football players, it's like they should have the opportunity to say, I want 3 years. Like, if I'm going into the next season giving you my all, I want a 3-year contract with you
yeah,
guys. And
yeah.
I think that they should have that and they should get it, especially if they have been on the seasons for 3 years or more.
Yeah, that's so true. So Jacqueline Larita, when because it made me think of her when she got out of what was it, season 7? They for season 8, I think, and I could be wrong with seasons. Bravo said, "Come back as a friend of." And and for Jacqueline, that was like a slap in the face because she's like, I'm an OG, like, I'm not coming back as a friend of. And I think that's super insulting as well. If you want Jacqueline to come at all, how dare you like demote someone's role? That's kind of messed up. It's either they go or I really do like your idea. I think that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
It says, do you think Bravo will settle or fight?
Settle.
Yeah, they have to settle, especially if
Yeah.
there's some sexual assault involved in
And
this.
especially if they haven't announced, the names and they wanna keep it under wraps, they're
Yeah,
for sure gonna settle.
yeah. Then it says, do you think this is more about Bravo or production? I think production.
Me too, I think production.
I think productions have a job at the end of the day, so they get carried away and there's like pressure from them and then they go
Yeah.
too far. They go too far
But I
with
also think
that.
the pressure comes from the
Bravo.
network. Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes from Bravo, it comes from NBC Universal. There has to be something like that you're giving the pressure on to them saying,
Yeah.
"Deliver this, deliver that," and
Yeah, it's wild. I am so curious to see and that's why I'm so glad, Chantel, that we're reaching out to past housewives because
yeah, they should be able to speak out if they want to and in their experience because they go through a lot.
and they're controlled. Like I'm telling you, we reached out to Emily Simpson from Orange County. I reached out to Bravo PR, and we have like a pretty good, solid relationship with Bravo in the sense that they'll ask us to use headlines, and we always say yeah. So and the Bravo PR was like, no, you can't interview them. But then Emily's like out there doing interviews with others, and it's like, but if Emily wanted to, why couldn't she do an interview? So I don't know.
And why are you and then you're finding people and you're doing these things and it's very
Well, they're allowing Page Six. Like they have this thing with
yeah.
Page Six. And so they have this like partnership. And so they're like, nope, you have to talk to only our people. And it's like, oh my gosh, like how much control do you guys want? If there's like been an account, whether it's like a fan account or a blog or anyone who's been in support of this person, why can't they
Yeah, like,
talk?
we're giving you, at the end of the day, probably more viewerships, we're hyping you to show
Absolutely.
up, we're talking about the show, it's like, you
We're
guys that's kind of
encouraging people to
it's a
watch
dumb
it.
business move to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I
Give them at least, like, pointers, say, "Don't talk about the season, don't talk about things that haven't showed," just like how, they probably have to do when they're on Watch What Happens Live, you can't talk about what's gonna happen, but you can
Yeah.
talk about anything
How
else.
you feel throughout like
Yeah,
what's already aired. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. It is crazy. We just had to do this emergency podcast to kind of cover this really briefly. So it's a short episode, but we wanted to touch on it. And I'm sure there's going to be so many things that come out in
Comes
the
up,
next
yeah.
couple days. Yeah. So we'll keep you guys updated. Chantal, anything else?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys for
I wanna
listening.
show you my towels I got in.
Oh yeah, Chantal got towels for her wedding and she wants to use it as a gift for like everyone who comes.
Yes.
Yeah, so Chantel's going to show me that. And I wanna just reiterate and say thank you guys for the sweet messages because we read all your messages on All About TRH podcast, All About TRH. You guys say the most incredible things about us or to us and just in of support. And we just want to say thank you so much. And even when we get feedback, we are trying every day. We're learning and wanting to be better. So we
Yes.
appreciate the feedback as well. So thank you guys for that. And thank you guys for being so supportive of us.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Make sure to subscribe to our podcast and please follow us on Instagram at All About TRH Podcast. Thanks for listening.